That's most of the cycling trips I've done in Korea. Korea is probably the easiest country to bike across. No wild animals that will kill you, no highway thieves, no kidnappers, no tornadoes, no earthquakes, no death-defying roads. Pretty much anyone who can ride a bike can bike across Korea. It's that easy. I've had this bike longer than I've been in any relationship. And it's the bike I've used for all my trips. It's been a pretty monogamous relationship. It's a Merida, a Taiwanese brand. Korea is a hilly country, but you'll never really go higher than 1,000 meters in elevation at any point, and the roads are all pretty good, so any half-decent bike should be good enough.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I always choose my trips based on how many days I have to spare. Korea has multiple routes you can choose based on your preference for mountains, oceans, greenery, flatlands, crowds, temples, or a whole lot of emptiness. Anyway, I had 5 days to spare and I decided to bike the entire length of Korea. So I started at Incheon and then the plan is to bike all the way till Busan. That's a total of over 550 kilometers. The idea is to finish the whole trip in 5 days. I went along with my friend Julian. One of the wonderful things about Korea is that there are 4 certainties in every city, village or town in Korea. You'd always, and I mean always, find a church, a chicken shop, a karaoke bar, and a motel. Based on these 4 certainties, I never really plan ahead to find a motel or a restaurant in any bike trip. But if you are a vegan, like my friend Julian, then you'll have to go scavenging. The most difficult thing about day 1 was getting through the crowds in Seoul. If you want someplace less crowded, then go to the northeast of Korea. A bus from Seoul will take you as far as this point, the Daejeon bus terminal. This is a bus stop, but there is really nothing here. It's pretty much empty. But of course, there is a motel and a chicken shop close by. Except for a few people who live here and the military, this part of Korea is pretty empty. And I did actually bike further up north towards North Korea, but I found that I couldn't go any further than this military checkpoint. But in any case, come up here if you want to get away from crowds and experience something different. Back to the outskirts of Seoul, I ended up doing a total of 82 kilometers on the first day. Not a bad start, and it wasn't difficult to find a motel or a chicken shop. Julian, on the other hand, went searching for tofu. See, once you leave the cities in Korea, it's really not easy to find vegan options. The weather was sunny and nice. It almost seemed like the perfect day to do over 100k to make up for the lost distance from yesterday, and doing 120k would have gotten us to Chungju. But first we had to stop and see King Sejong. Sejong the Great was and is a prominent figure in Korean history, so skipping him wasn't an option. We stopped by the tomb of King Sejong. When you bike across Korea, you'll always find some obscure museum or temple. Unless you're really pressed for time, don't skip them. Stop and enjoy them. On the west coast, when we were biking around in Anmyeon though, we found this beautiful little village. The place had a fort that was built during the 15th century by, guess who? Yes, King Sejong. This was built to prevent invaders from entering Korea. You'll always find places like this when you go exploring. So to find these places, use Korean maps. Don't use Google Maps. All we managed to do on day 2 was a disappointing 70 kilometers. We had to do more than 100 kilometers today. I mean, we had to. But Julian broke the one cardinal rule of biking. Never invite someone you love to join you on a biking trip just because you miss them. Or, in street lingo,
bros before hoes.
The day started off really well. It was the perfect weather for biking. Cloudy. And it was mostly flatlands and green fields. This part of Korea is sparsely populated, so there are no big cities, mostly just green fields and mountains. As for the terrain, there were a couple of peaks we had to climb and a lot of downhill, so nothing too difficult, and we got to see a waterfall too. I moved to Korea in 2007 and I lived on Jeju Island. During my holidays, I decided to bike around the island. It was my first long-distance bike ride and I got to see parts of the island I had never seen before. It felt like I had unlocked this desire to explore, and ever since, whenever I've had the time, I've enjoyed long-distance bike rides. And day 3 was no different. I was enjoying the day and then it started to rain. The rain didn't slow us down, but someone else did. Yes, his girlfriend. She wasn't used to long bike rides and she was pretty slow. Julian, being the ideal boyfriend, slowed down and gave her company. Well, there aren't many perks being single, but one of them is you don't have to wait for anyone. So I left these lovebirds and went ahead. I finally reached the town of Mungyong, and hours later, Julian and his girlfriend showed up as well. I slept alone in my room. Julian probably got a lot of love from his girlfriend. Perks of not being single.
Sometimes it burns, sometimes it hurts when you say my name.
While I slept in the warmth of my right hand, Julian had a whole human to keep him company. But guess what? The joke's on him. My right hand wasn't going to keep me in bed till 10 in the morning. I was up early and ready to conquer the road. I guess he was conquering the bed. Well, I wasn't ready to serve him breakfast after his exploits. I told him that he could stay behind and cause more havoc in bed, but that I was leaving. And that's exactly what I did. I left them behind and went ahead alone. It was raining as I headed out, and I knew I had to do more than 100 kilometers today if I wanted to make it to Busan on day 5. It kept raining the whole day, so every 3 hours I would stop and change my undies and socks. Always remember to keep your insides dry. Wait, there's someone else out in the rain. Looks like I'm not the only crazy one. Nor am I the only happy one. You don't have to let a little rain spoil your day. Enjoy the rain. Like 2 buses that pull up in a row. There's another person up ahead. Looks like a woman.
And she was never to be seen again.
No, I'm just playing. I didn't want to bother her, so I just let her be and went on my way. Did you guys notice? She was biking in her flip-flops. By the time I made it to Kumi, I had run out of clean underwear and socks, so I stopped by a laundromat to wash and dry my clothes. I also met an old friend for dinner. It was getting dark and I had a decision to make. Stop at Kumi for the night and do 166 kilometers on the final day, or push through to Daegu, which is another 45 kilometers away. This wasn't the first time I did something stupid. On my way to Jirisan, I was out on a highway when the road was totally misty. In hindsight, that was even more stupid than biking in the dark. Cars were zipping past me and I could barely see 20 feet ahead. Stay off the highway whenever you can. Stay off the highway. Here's a life lesson: whenever it gets dark, be like Julian, stay in bed. As I got closer to Daegu, the rains really picked up. It was absolutely pouring by the time I got to Daegu. There was a bit of a drizzle in the morning, but by around afternoon it had stopped raining. The one downside of this particular route is that you don't really get to see any coastline. If you'd like more of an ocean view, do the East Coast route. The East Coast has some beautiful beaches too. I'm not a good swimmer, but if you are, and if you do the East Coast, it won't be a bad idea to bike for a while, stop, swim for a while, and then bike again. That's exactly what Julian did at Hajari. We were biking the whole morning inland, and at the first sight of the ocean,
swim time. Yeah.
After 5 days of biking, I was close to Busan. Surprisingly, I didn't really feel tired. I felt like I had accomplished something, inconsequential as it may be. And to be fair, at no point in the journey did I feel like it was physically or mentally challenging. It was just enjoyable. For someone like me who loves greenery and talking to strangers, this ride was a lot of fun. I met a lot of people. I ate a lot of food. And biked plenty, so what's not to enjoy? And although Julian ditched me for fickle love, was a wonderful companion for 2.5 days. I'd highly recommend biking across Korea. Pick any road. It's easy to do either alone or with someone else, and it's really safe too. I made it to Busan around 7 in the evening.